is my pleasure to welcome you here to the Clark Howard Show. You know, our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. And in today's show, I'm talking scams. First, a warning for you if you buy or sell goods on Facebook Marketplace. And later, AI is enabling crooks to clone voices. And this is a big problem that's happening at companies, that's happening to family members. You got to know what's going on and how you should validate before you act on something you hear from who you think is a loved one, friend, relative, or the boss. So, as we talk about scams in today's podcast, I want to tell you, you can grow cynical, and you can start to lose faith in the morality and ethics of our fellow human beings. But just remember, most people are honest and decent, and they're doing the right thing. And I want to give an example of it before I talk about the Facebook thing. I was a witness to a domestic dispute between a couple along with other people. And what was really interesting, it was on a public street. And the witnesses did not just keep on walking. The witnesses did what they could to protect the woman in this couple. And one woman, trying to defend her, got punched in the face, broke her glasses.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't tell us this story.
Well, I'm sharing it right now.
I know, but I mean...
It was terrible. But people stayed, and people were there, and we kind of cornered them against a wall, none of us with weapons, until the police came. It was so funny because I saw a police car going down the road and was just going regular speed. And I realized it wasn't, there was no response from 911. And I went out into the road and flagged the officer down and got him over there. He was one tough dude. And then he realized this was a bad situation. And in minutes, there were a bunch of police officers there who dealt with the situation. But what struck me so much is the goodness in most people. That all these people just on the sidewalk, going about their business, stopped, not everybody, but quite a few stopped to help. And one woman had, as people do today, had shot really great video of what had happened.
Wow. And
shows the officer, and he's watching the video. He totally had a much better picture of what was going on from her video. So everybody played a part, including a woman who had a pit bull mix, who used it to keep the guy from being able to leave the area. Wow. Everybody did their part.
It's so scary. I mean, the fact that it happened in public, you wonder what has happened behind closed doors. It's just usually not like that, but that's so good that you guys were there. And
they were both so sky high on drugs. This was not alcohol. Oh, my goodness. And the woman who was bleeding all over from abuse charges at the cop, who was such a tough guy, he just kind of went,
oh, my gosh.
I mean, but everybody, including the police officers, everybody did their part. And I really appreciate that. And I spoke to, as the police were done with all of us, the posse, I thanked everybody for caring and doing something.
Wow.
So I just point that out because most people are good people and they want to make a positive difference. So knowing that I'm going to talk about bad people now and scamsters now, don't fall into cynicism and despair, because most people are doing the right things. But this is something we're talking about because recently on the podcast, I think early last month. We were talking about all the scams with people buying things online and buying things from other people and selling things to other people and all the scams that come up. And we were talking about the advantage of Facebook Marketplace. But at the same time, we didn't really do our job of pointing out that Facebook Marketplace can be a big source of scams too. In fact, there have been a bunch of stories about it. And we have a post on right up on Clark.com about how to be aware of the scams that happen on Facebook Marketplace. And the number of complaints about Facebook Marketplace have gotten so large that there are lots of national news about it. Most recent I saw, there have been the TV ones, but I even saw the Wall Street Journal wrote a story about what a problem all the scamsters have become who've infested Facebook Marketplace as crooked sellers or buyers. So the most important thing when you're dealing on Nextdoor and finding out about something or Facebook Marketplace, local. Dealing with people you know or know of, neighbors, friends of neighbors. When you go that one additional ring out and you're dealing with strangers, or that ring out where you're dealing with people not from your area. You know, Facebook Marketplace was designed to be localized, but criminals have infiltrated it from all over the place. And Facebook has not been able to, I don't want to say they failed, they have not been effective, let's say. And they're tarnishing the reputation of Facebook Marketplace because they've not been effective at dealing with the scamsters. So as both a buyer and a seller, if you're thinking of listing something for sale on Facebook Marketplace, or you're thinking of being a buyer of something on Facebook Marketplace, please go read our briefing before you do either so that you're prepared for the scam that might come along.
And I've bought and sold a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace, and I would say you'll definitely, if you're selling, no question, you'll get a message at some point from a scammer. It's usually asking you to take the conversation offline into text or to call them or whatever. And my rules are, like you said, I only buy from local people or sell to local people. I meet them in a public place, like at a store or something like that. You can go to a police station, as you said before, something like that in public. And I don't pay until I've seen the item. The person pays me usually after they see. I did have someone I talked about Venmo me before, but that was fine for me because I got the legitimate money. And then they picked it up on my porch in that case. But the woman was a friend of a friend.
You're so close to, you could walk to your city hall in your town.
True, I could.
You could meet people right at City Hall.
Sure, yeah. I mean, sometimes they live far away. I met in a Target parking lot recently far away when I bought a hair tool that I really wanted from this woman.
Is it working well?
You tell me. I don't know.
Your hair looks beautiful.
Thank you. So anyway, yeah, you have to be careful, but you can get some great deals and and sell things. So I do love it for that. Okay, Andrew in Alaska wrote in saying, "Hi Clark, could you explain why you don't recommend people using Venmo or other cash apps when conducting a transaction with someone you don't know? I'm only talking about in-person transactions, such as if I'm selling a vehicle. Once I send someone money on Venmo, I don't see a way to cancel the transaction, so it seems like receiving money from a stranger this way is safe. Since I use a small credit union with branches in only one state, I don't like to deal in cash, as both withdrawing and depositing it can pose challenges."
So, Andrew, you have tried to put up ring fences to make paying or receiving funds from a stranger safe. And you have done one of the most important things by doing business in person. The reason I say that you use Venmo or Cash App or PayPal, don't use Zelle, but anyway, for anything. But with the other three, when you use it to pay a friend, reimburse a friend or give a gift for a birthday or holiday or something like that, you don't have to worry that the money is going to not a legitimate purpose or person. When you do business with someone remotely who you don't know, man, you're asking for it. You're kind of in a gray area here that you have taken steps that make you feel okay, and you probably are likely going to be okay. Would you say that is true too? Because they're in person with the individual. They know what they're buying. They know what they're selling. And the person's actually paying the money or you're paying the money. I would say that that is a gray area that you would put up enough protections that you're almost certainly okay in this case.
Just never hand your phone over to anyone physically.
Very good point. Because a criminal who knows what they're doing, if they want to borrow your phone or check a direction or something like that, before you know it, they have gone on your phone that you've already opened for them with your fingerprint, eye scan, or a passcode. And if they know you've got or find you've got Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, or Big Bad Zelle, they can then swipe money right out of it in an instant that you cannot reclaim.
Charlotte in Georgia says, I fell for one of the recent Keto Gummies promotions. Set in motion by the Shark Tank show and Kelly Clarkson's amazing weight loss. I should have known better because it was on Facebook. Apparently, Ms. Clarkson's face on the ad was a scam. The ad offered a free bottle of Keto Gummies. That is all I ordered. Lo and behold, my credit card showed a charge for a full subscription of 6 bottles to the tune of $300. I denied the charge, and to their credit, it was quickly removed. However, 2 days ago, I received a package of 6 bottles. I haven't opened it yet. I think there's 6 in there. My question is, am I obligated to return the several bottles I received? I would really like to have the one free bottle that I ordered, but the whole thing is just weird now, and this is not the Shark Tank product. Help.
Charlotte, this is a common problem now with the deep fakes using AI, and you think you're buying something that was represented elsewhere, and they're falsely using the image of Kelly Clarkson, all that. So, no, you don't want to take one bottle out of it because you don't know what's in it. It could be anything.
I would not take it.
And it's almost certainly not what's represented. This is a complete scam, and you do want to return to sender. Now, legally, the Postal Service regulations don't apply, which is when you receive something you did not order, because they can allege you received it, used it. So you send them an email and you say, I want to know how you would like to receive the return of the product
that I did not order.
Because remember, you weren't ordering from this deep fake. You thought you were ordering the legitimate stuff. And you want to be able to show the credit card company, if they have only given you a provisional credit, and they might later come back and say, well, they say you ordered blah, 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 and they got your voice, whatever you say. I've returned the product.
I would take a picture. I would not open it. I would write return to sender on it, take a picture of that. And
depending on how you received it, even if you had to send it back to them at your expense, I would do so just so there's proof that you are not in possession of the product. That
with
is
tracking.
Cheap money versus, what was it, $300?
Yeah, with tracking, for sure.
Yeah, and if you need a cheap way to send it back, Pirate Ship is one of the sources I recommend, where you get huge discounts on shipping by registering, no cost, as a Pirate Ship customer. You use Pirate Ship now, don't you?
Arg, I do. I love it.
It's really, really great. And I'm sorry that you got conned this way. The key thing is it not cost you any meaningful big amount of money.
Jeff in Tennessee says, my company is moving our 401k administration from Charles Schwab to an insurance company. I am not thrilled. Is my concern justified? Can or should I move my 401k into my own brokerage account? I have about $1 million in my 401k and I'm 52 years old. I mean, max saver thanks to you.
Jeff, that is awesome. $1 million plus? You are what Fidelity refers to as a 401k millionaire. We have a record number of people who have become millionaires, not through owning their own business, not through inheritance, but paycheck by paycheck, putting money in the 401k, investing it, and things like the target retirement fund choices in them or index funds and developing real wealth. So in your case, I don't know why your employer would move your 401k from a low-cost provider like Schwab to an ultra-high-cost insurance company. And I hate this for you. So what you got to do is you can't move the money in your 401k. As long as you're employed by this company, your money has to stay in that 401k. So for future contributions, look through thoroughly what are the administrative costs you're going to pay being with this high-cost insurance company, and then what low-cost investment choices do they have? Usually an insurance company provided 401k that has target retirement funds. The target retirement funds will have massive expense ratios, huge, that will be like 25 to 50 times what they would be with one of the low-cost providers. So if that is true in the plan, you don't want to use that choice. Normally, even in most of the insurance company plans, they will have low-cost index funds. And so you could build a portfolio of index funds that mimics pretty much the holdings you would have inside the target retirement fund. You at least want to contribute to that 401k going forward up to when you capture the full employer match. Past that, Jeff, if you're income eligible, your additional money you put aside, you'd want it to go into a Roth IRA with one of my favorite children. Past that, if I put you in a bind that the insurance company provided 401k is so lousy with such rotten high expenses, believe it or not, it would make sense beyond that to do index funds in an investment account and give up the tax-free, tax-sheltered growth of the 401k beyond the employer match if the overall expenses of this insurance company 401k, administrative costs plus investment costs, are above 1%. You would want to do your own investment account with one of the low-cost companies instead of staying in the 401k for future contributions beyond match, because you can't overcome those extremely high costs that are usually found in an insurance company administered 401k. Insurance companies are the appropriate place to buy insurance. They are not an appropriate choice for investments. Coming up ahead, as we continue our depressing day of scams going on, we're going to talk about a different kind of cloning, not the fake Kelly Clarkson image, but voice cloning and what you got to look out for. One of the ugliest low-life scams of the last 15 years has been what's known as the grandparent scam, where criminals will target a grandparent, and it's so easy online to find out, particularly on social media, somebody congratulating their grandkid on their new job or making the honor roll or whatever. And so the criminals would target the grandparents in what was known as the grandparent scam, where they would call them, impersonate just as best they could the grandkid, and then con money, emergency money. I've been in a wreck, I got arrested, grandma, whatever it is.
Someone just did this to my parents not that long ago.
Really?
And they luckily didn't fall for it. They acted like they were my son, who definitely is the most likely of all the grandchildren to be in jail. And
you didn't just say that.
Well, I think you would agree it's true. And they didn't. They called me first, so luckily they didn't get taken.
And did they know your son's name, the crooks?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So this has been around almost a generation, but there's something new. And this is what's uglier. I mean, it's already ugly enough. Now they are cloning the voices of the family member before they target the grandparent or the parent. So now it's possible to voice clone. And at first this was sci-fi, but now this is going mainstream criminal. And so you get a call that would, in the case of Christa's parents, it would sound exactly like their grandson, because it would be a direct digital pattern voice of the grandson. So it's gotten even worse. And remember this, you get that desperation call saying you're in the hospital, you were in a wreck, your car's broken down, you're in trouble with the police, whatever it is. Call. Say, thank you so much. I need to call you back. Give me your number. And then you hang up and you don't call their number. You start calling the responsible family members. At first, you start by calling the relative who supposedly was calling you, who often will answer the phone and say, what are you talking about? I'm great. I'm at home watching the whatever game. And the number of times that a desperation call is actually legit, because there's so many of these scamsters out there, is very low. Well, now the other angle that was an email scam has now migrated to voice. It's where people know how corporate bureaucracies work as a hierarchy. And if you get a call from the owner of a smaller mid-sized business and you're an underling, or in a big corporate bureaucracy, you get a call from the VP of this or the this of that or whatever, and they say, you haven't paid that invoice to so-and-so, or you haven't done this or that or the other. You got to get this done. And they're like, yeah, I'll get it done right away. And it could be in the internal messaging system of the company. And you think, wow, my job's on the line. I got so-and-so mad at me. I didn't even think they knew who I was, and they're mad at me right now. Now they're doing it with voice. You're getting a call or a voicemail that sounds like it's from the vice president of whatever, or the owner of the company, or the general manager, or whatever. And they say, you never paid this, or you never did this, or send money to this. And then imagine you thought you were in trouble, when later it turns out that you got scammed out of the company money. Let me tell you, then you really have predicted the future. You are in trouble. So it's so important in the corporate environment, which is hard to do because of the hierarchy, particularly if you're working in an authoritarian corporate culture. It's hard to do this, but you want to contact whoever it is at the company and say, hey, I just wanted to verify, because of the scams involved running around, did you really want me to do this, or did you authorize that? And more often than not, you'll find out they didn't want this to happen or authorize it to happen. And you will have avoided embarrassment, cost of funds for the company, and possibly costing yourself your job. Because the cloning technology is so good, it's so bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go to questions. Mary in Ohio says, why do you suggest using a credit card for charitable giving?
Well, the charity hopes you don't.
Yeah.
The advantage when charities accept payment by credit card is if you have a reward card, you get full credit for the donation, and you get tax-free the benefit of whatever rewards you get, whether it's cash back or airline points or hotel stay points or whatever it is.
Gil in Florida says, what is the best way to resolve a dispute of a FedEx package not delivered to me? The shipper, a tool company, wants a complaint number from FedEx, but FedEx won't do a complaint with me. They want the shipper to request it.
And that's and what FedEx is saying is correct.
Yeah.
You are not the customer. Your responsibility is to report to the tool company the package did not arrive. And then the tool company files the complaint, in this case with FedEx, same would be true with UPS, Postal Service, whatever. Their contract is not with you. Their contract is with the shipper that they chose to send the package. So FedEx is telling you the right thing. The tool company is doing the wrong thing.
And file a dispute, right?
File a dispute and send a written complaint to them. If they don't respond, file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. If you have paid by credit card, you dispute the charge with your credit card. I mean, you are the one, if they are being that cavalier and haphazard about this, I started to say something else, then you are going to have to pull out the big guns of protection. It's not a weapon, but that's a figurative point of speech, to protect your wallet and protect yourself.
Nick in California says, my wife and I are 35 years old, debt-free, rent-free. We're living in the back house of my grandma's house. We have $60,000 saved up in our savings account and want to put it to use. Would putting it in a money market account such as Vanguard or Charles Schwab be the best bet? If so, do we put all of the $60,000 in? What's the best thing to do with this parked money? Thanks for all your sage advice.
So Nick, thank you, and it's great you've got such a reserve fund. And so a money market fund with one of the low-cost investment houses would be a much better choice than having it sitting in a savings account earning. Hopefully you're earning with an online bank, but you'll earn better with one of the money market funds, or if you want to, you can go in a government money market account. You can go in a treasury money market account with Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard. I assume that you mentioned Vanguard and Schwab. You may have accounts with both. The money you'll earn on your money market, whichever flavor you go into, will be superior at Vanguard usually than it will be with Schwab or Fidelity. So particularly if you already have an account with them, I would do it with the one you have an account with. So the money you have, the $60,000 having in a savings account, is FDIC insured, or if it's in a credit union, NCUA insured. So you are fully protected with that 60 grand. You go into a money market account, your money is incredibly safe. It is safest with a little bit lower return on your money in a government securities money market fund or a treasury or federal money market fund. And if you go look at the prospectus of each, you'll see what the holdings are. But the return, again, a little lower, the safety a little higher, but money market funds are extremely safe with extremely minuscule risk to any of the money you put in, and the return you earn is higher and worth it for the minute risk you may face, which truly is minute. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today. You know what tomorrow is? It's Friday, which means it will be time for Clark Stinks, my favorite podcast segment of the week. Remember what we're here for you, that you learn ways to save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. Have a great rest of your